take a leap of faith on it.
All month long, help NBC 23 clear the shelters.
All right, good morning, and thanks so much for continuing to hang out with us here on NBC 23. I'm so excited to have our good friend Dr. Joseph M. Caparuso here in the studio for, get this, National I Love My Feet Day. This is so amazing. I think people don't really think about it very often, but our feet can be the foundation of our entire body system and our health. Isn't that right?
Exactly. So many people don't bother with their feet until it hurts, and then they come in and see me, and then we take care of it. So got to take care of your feet every day, and it's a great day to realize feet are important. So here we are.
Yeah, I love that so much. It's so beneficial to know about. So how exactly can we take care of our feet?
Well, different people have to do different things. For example, if you have diabetes, and down here in the valley we have a lot of people with diabetes, unfortunately. So you want to check your feet every day.
Okay.
Take your shoes and socks off, look between your toes. If you don't see so well, have somebody help you do that, right? You want to make sure you're wearing the adequate shoes. Make sure you're wearing shoes that are not putting too much pressure, especially if you have a bunion deformity. Many people have bunion deformities, right?
Yeah.
And so women, unfortunately, wear those nice pointy high-heel shoes that we like to look at and things like that, but they cause a lot of foot problems. So you want to be careful what you're wearing. Make sure that your shoe has enough space to accommodate your foot.
Okay.
If your foot's very wide, you don't want to squish it into a shoe that's very narrow. And so those are the little things you can do. You want to keep your feet warm and dry, right? And not keeping warm is not hard down here, right, with the temperature we have.
For sure.
But keeping them dry, because our feet sweat a lot when they're inside the shoes and socks. So you want to look at your feet every day, inspect them between the toes, make sure your nails are trimmed correctly, because you can get ingrown toenails. It's a big thing we see with kids that cut their nails too short, cut the corners. Yeah. Then they come in with an ingrown toenail. So be careful, check your feet every day, and you want to wear a shoe that's adequate for what you do. If you're on your feet all day, probably a high-heel shoe is not the best shoe to wear, although sometimes you may have to do that. Yeah. So maybe bring shoes to switch off during the day depending on what you're doing. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. And there are so many different types of shoes for so many different types of people and different feet, shapes, sizes, like you mentioned. So that's so important to know about. And I love how you said also just to inspect them. I don't think we take time to look at our feet, and so foot care can really benefit from just us taking time to notice our bodies and be aware. So that's amazing. And this also can go for just even our kids all the way up to our seniors. I mean, everyone can benefit from these tips, right? Exactly. You know, we start small with our children when they start growing, and as they mature and we get a little bit older, then it's different epochs in our life that we need to do different things with our feet. But we don't know about them because they're out of sight, out of mind, so we don't worry about it until something hurts, and then we say, oh, what do I do? I know. And so we also want to take care of our feet to avoid injuries. If we're like maybe active, maybe an athlete, or even just walking in our daily lives. And so maybe what are some tips we can think about there just in our daily routines? Well, first of all, again, adequate shoes. If you're going to go walking, you want to walk in an adequate tennis shoe, walking shoe, something that gives you enough support so that your feet can do what they need to do inside there. You want to make sure the shoe is not one of those shoes that you take and you can just double everywhere. It should only bend where the toes are. That's where it should bend. Yeah. The heel's important. It's called the counter. That should stay really stiff so that it controls your heel, that your heel's not moving all over the place. If you have a problem like a bunion deformity or something like that, you want to see someone. Yeah. And then at Futuro Clinical Trials, we have different trials that can help if you have diabetic foot ulcerations or if you have a bunion deformity. We can help you with that, so give us a call. Awesome. Well, Dr. Caparuso, thank you so much for being here, always being a friend of ours, and just making sure that we're aware of these things because it's so important. And happy National I Love My Feet Day, right? Thank you. Same to you. We appreciate you so much. Jessica, I know that you are always on your feet, my friend, tracking the weather for us and making sure we are up to date on the latest. And I think that I have a feeling you're doing that right now. Am I right?
Always tracking the weather, and today I'm tracking the tropics. Before we get to our forecast, I did want to mention one very interesting thing we have going on that's very rare.